Okay, let's go back to the phones at 617-830-4750. We've got a lot of people holding today. Let's see where we want to go next. Why don't we talk to a lot of area codes I don't recognize. Let's go to our caller from the 647 area code. Who's calling today from 647?
Hi, David. It's Eric from Toronto.
Hey, Eric, what's going on today?
Yeah, I've wondered if you know much about citizens' assemblies. I've been reading a lot about the topic lately, and I wonder what you thought about them as a problem-solving mechanism.
No, I've not heard of them by that name, but what are they? Because I think it sounds like it's something I know by a different name.
Okay, a citizens' assembly is an assembly of randomly selected citizens convened to consider a problem, listen to experts, and deliberate with help from some moderators and propose a solution. It's kind of like legislation by jury.
Yeah, right, exactly. I was going to make the analogy to the jury. I mean, listen, I love the idea in principle. And one of the biggest problems we have, I don't know how big of a problem it is in Canada, but in the US, one of the biggest problems we have within the sort of a sphere of elected officials is that they are coming disproportionately from narrow slices of society in terms of their professions, in terms of their financial circumstances, and in other ways. It's a relatively homogenous group that lacks diversity in ways that I think would be important. I'm not talking about racial diversity, but in these other ways. The problem is, like, I've been on a jury and it's pretty bad. And I did a segment, which now I think has more than 500,000 views on YouTube, saying we have to recognize that there's just a lot of people that are ignorant, dumb, stupid, call it whatever you want. I don't want to stigmatize it, but there's just a lot of people that lack information and cognitive ability. So I want more diversity of voices in deciding how our society should be organized and weighing in on policy. At the same time, I've been on a jury where 2/3 of the jury members didn't even understand what the law was that we were supposed to make a guilty or not guilty determination of. So it also scares me. And I understand, like, when you go back, to Plato and see his anti-democracy views, I understand them. I'm not against democracy, but I understand the problem with just letting random people be in charge of stuff. I've been on juries.
Well, I think that's a very good point. Although, it has been tried in a couple of areas of the world, such as British Columbia had one about electoral reform. Ireland had one about abortions. And I think really the results speak for themselves there. If you can get experts in front of these people, if you can have moderators, getting them to discuss in a productive way, people really do change their minds and come to what I think are reasonable solutions to complicated problems.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's heartwarming and inspirational that there are examples of it having worked well. And I would be super in favor of the idea as long as I felt good about, not listen. 60 million people voted for Trump. It's like how critically are you thinking if you go to the ballot box and say, I want Donald Trump to be president? And that's what's really scary to me.
Hmm. Yeah, one of the things it seems like citizens' assemblies can really change if they took over a lot more of the legislative role from elected representatives is that the role of political parties in society could be marginalized a lot. And that might get rid of a lot of the toxic culture around politics that is troubling many areas of the world today.
Completely agree. Although I think that there's also the possibility that in so doing, it allows for other new problems that we would have to solve. But super interesting, and I'll look into it further. I appreciate you bringing it up.
All right. Have a great day, David.
Okay, you too. Appreciate the call.